Good day, Miss Amechi with you. All right. We'll be looking at formalizing P rules. Remember in the last class we talked about phonological rules and we said we'll be shortening it to P rules. So we'll be looking at formalizing P rules. In the formalization of P rules, there is a scientific representation of phonological rules. So we don't look at it as English rules. We put it in such a way that it looks mathematical. So rules can be written in words for easy comprehension, all right, but are formalized as part of the economy principle of generative phonology. Now, you could put these rules in formula. Okay, I can say when you add when p is at the beginning of a syllable or a word followed by a stressed vowel, p becomes aspirated. That is the word. It is a rule written in word form. But I can also represent this rule that I have spoken out in word format in a scientific way or in a kind of formula. All right. Now, if that is the case, what I will realize is the formalization to put into formula, the formalization of phonological rules. Okay. So it is important to note these segments, all right, or these abbreviations or signs that could be used in the formalization of P rules. So some of these signs include the slash bracket. So when you have a particular segment enclosed in slash brackets, what we have is the phoneme is represented. The phoneme is represented. Okay. All right. So if I have k and I put k in slash brackets, I am telling you that k is a phoneme. All right. Now, if I put k in square bracket, I am telling you that k is realized phonetically. Okay, is realized phonetically, but k in slash bracket is realized phonemically. So that one I put in square bracket is either I am talking about the allophones of k, okay, or I am giving the features of k. All right. Or I am giving the features of k. Okay, but then when we have just one slash bracket, I'm just trying to say in the environment of, okay, I am just trying to say that this happens in the environment of something. That is for one slash bracket. Now, two slash brackets signifies phoneme enclosed. Two square brackets signifies a phonetic realization enclosed. One slash bracket says that something is occurring in the environment of another thing. Okay, now we have this arrow. The arrow says interprets, becomes, or changes to. So when you see the arrow, it is telling you that something is changing to another thing. Now when we have this hash, when we have this when we have the hash tag, it suggests a word boundary. Okay, so it is a word boundary. Now when we have dashes before the hashtag, that shows that you know that the hashtag is a word boundary. That means there are some things that have come before that word boundary. Okay, the boundary suggesting the beginning or end of a word. So when you have dashes before the word boundary, that means something has come before the word boundary. So that word boundary now is in the final position. But when you have the word boundary and then there are dashes in front of it, that means that is the beginning of that word boundary, and so some things follow. So it is at the initial position. Now this $sign is the syllable boundary. Okay, it is the syllable boundary. That is the $sign. Now when we have the syllable boundary followed by dashes, that means that is the beginning of the syllable followed by other phonemes. So it is the syllable initial position. Now when there are dashes before the syllable, that means something has come before the syllable boundary. So the syllable boundary is the end of the syllable. So that means it is the syllable final position. Okay, now we have V, capital letter V, suggesting vowels, capital letter C suggesting consonants, capital letter G suggesting glide. The glide could be diphthongs or approximants, the semi-vowels. Okay, now remember we have said all these things, the way you could put them when you are talking about, I am looking at a phoneme that is realized as something, okay, in the environment of. So when it has finished realizing, or it has been realized, it is enclosed in square brackets as the phonetic realization. When it is in the environment of something else, or it is occurring in the environment of another phoneme, you put one slash bracket. When there is a change in it, becomes or changes to, you show the arrow pointing it is changing to this thing that you are going to see next. So this is the word boundary, the hashtag. Dashes before the word boundary shows that there are words before the word boundary. So the word boundary, the thing you are talking about is at the final position. But when there is the word boundary before whatever starts, you will know that that is the initial position. That is at the beginning of the word. So you have the syllable boundary. Then when you have the syllable boundary followed by dashes, it is at the initial position. Dashes followed by the syllable boundary is at the final position. So the phoneme you're talking about is at the final position. Now we have V for vowel, C for consonant, G for glide. Okay, let's now look at this formalization of rules. The first rule, deletion rule. Remember when we were talking about the voiced velar plosive occurring with nasals, that in that situation they are deleted. Okay, so we have G, deletion rule. In G deletion rule, it states that G. So when you find it like this, enclosed, you are no more going to call it G. It is no more going to be a letter G. It has become a phoneme. So you will call it as the sound G. All right. But if it is only G that is written out or enclosed in greater than and less than sign, we call it or pointy brackets. We call it pointy brackets, or to know it very well, I call it the greater than and the less than sign. Okay, if it is enclosed in that, we know we are talking about letters or we are talking about words. But when we enclose it in slash brackets, we are talking about phonemes, or we are talking about a transcription of a word. All right, so in the deletion rule, G is deleted when it occurs in word final position. Do you understand that? When it occurs in word final position before nasals. That is the rule stated in words. Now, when we want to formalize the rule, to state it in a formula kind of way, we will say G. Remember that in this rule now, when you read it, it says this rule states that G. So that is the G. G is at the beginning of this formula. Okay. You know that this arrow we said it is realized or becomes. So G becomes this symbol in square bracket. This omega symbol in square bracket is the symbol for deletion. So we say that G becomes deleted. Okay, when it occurs in the word final position before a nasal. So in between the nasal there is G. Example is sign, S-I-G-N. So the nasal is N. The phoneme in question is G. So I have S, E, G, N. So instead of to call it sign or sign, it becomes sign, because when this G occurs with the nasal N, G is deleted. So this becomes I. All right, so it becomes sign. Now in the word paradigm, the same thing happens, because G becomes deleted when it occurs with nasal M at the word final position. Remember we said the word final position. There are some you will find and it will tell you syllable final position or syllable initial position. So this is the word final position. So it's telling you that the word can be monosyllabic word, the word can be disyllabic word, the word can be polysyllabic word, like in paradigm. Paradigm is 3-syllable word. Okay, that is why it is talking about a word position. All right. But if it was looking at syllable, it will tell you a syllable position. Okay. Now, so we have paradigm G becomes deleted when it comes before a nasal at the word final position. This is the way you are going to state this thing that we have said in a formula version. Okay, that is formalizing this G deletion rule. Now that's the way it has been formalized. Now we get to B deletion rule. Okay, so in B deletion rule we have the rule says that B should be deleted in syllable final position after M. Syllable final position after M. Example, tomb. So for people that call it, I went to the tomb, it is not tomb, it is tomb, because B has been deleted. Plum, plumber. So it's not go and call me the plumber. It is call me the plumber. Bomb. He bombed the house. It's not bombed. Okay. So you can now see that B is deleted when it occurs with a nasal. And the nasal is usually M. Alright? So when B occurs with M at the syllable final position, B becomes deleted. It can no more be pronounced. So we will now end your pronunciation with M and leave the B that comes after the M. Alright? So in the formalization or in putting this rule that we have said now in a formula, we have B becomes deleted after M, okay, or in the environment of M. So this slash could be called after, could represent after, or it could represent in the environment of. Okay, so B becomes deleted after M when it occurs after M at the syllable final position. You see how syllable final position is represented now. Okay, dot 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 or dash 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 dash, and then the dollar sign is the syllable final position. But if it is the dollar sign and then dash 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 dash, it is the syllable initial position. Okay, so that is the deletion rule. We have looked at the G deletion rule and the B deletion rule. So we have the aspiration rule. The aspiration rule says that voiceless stops, you can call it stops or you can call them plosives. The voiceless stops, these voiceless stops include P, T, and K. So voiceless stops, P, T, K, are aspirated when they are at syllable initials, before stressed vowels. Okay, you remember what we talked about in the other class? We'll have voiceless stops. There are 3 of them, P, T, K. So they become aspirated when P, T, K are at the syllable initial position and they are followed by a stressed vowel. Okay, so if I have P followed by O and O is a stressed vowel, okay, then P is aspirated. That is what it is saying. If I have T and T is followed by a stressed vowel at the syllable initial position, I have it becomes aspirated. Now I have Potato, potato. Okay, potato. All right, now potato is a word. It is a 3-syllable word. When you are calling potato, you find out that there is a stress marker on tail. Okay, now when I am asked to write the second syllable in potato, I am going to aspirate that T because the vowel sound is a stressed vowel because it is at tail that potato is stressed. You understand? So A in potato is the stressed vowel. All right. So because of that, if I have tail, I will aspirate T because 1, it is at the syllable initial position and it is followed by a stressed vowel. So now this shows us that particle, which are voiceless stops, are realized as, or they become plus aspirated. That means when you have plus something, that means it is positive. So there is aspiration. They become plus aspirated when they are at the syllable initial position, okay, followed by a stressed vowel. You know that the V is for vowel, right? Then you have stress plus V stress, that is plus a vowel that is stressed, okay? So you have aspiration. All right, so voiceless stops becomes aspirated when they are at the syllable initial position followed by a stressed vowel. Now we have sorry for that distraction. Now we have unaspiration rule. In unaspiration rule, the voiceless stops are unaspirated after s. You see, after s, letter S sounds, so that means when there is S followed by the voiceless stop, that voiceless stop becomes unaspirated. So the voiceless stops are unaspirated after S. When they come after S, letter S, S. Okay, when they come after S at the beginning of a syllable, at the beginning of a syllable, okay? So I have stop, stop, spot, spot, skip, skip. All right, now t, p, and k become unaspirated because they are coming after s. All right, so we find here particle, which are voiceless plus plosives or voiceless stop, become minus aspirated. Minus says that there is no aspiration, so they become minus aspirated when they are followed by s, okay, or after s. You know that one I told you is after, that sign could be after this or in the environment of. So particle voiceless stops are realized as unaspirated or minus aspirated after s and the vowel initial position. Sorry, this should be at the beginning of the syllable. So the syllable here should be something like so let's put it this way. We edit. It should be, just don't worry, we are editing something here. So you know it is at the beginning of a syllable. So when we leave this dash 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 and then we have the dollar sign, we are saying it is at the end of a syllable. So but that is not so. It should be this, the dollar sign followed by, okay, that shows the syllable initial position, okay, syllable initial position. All right, okay, so okay, so it is at the syllable initial position, okay. Now the syllable initial position, that initial position there could be plus consonant, that's the s. The letter S sounds have these features: plus consonant, minus sonorant, minus voice. Okay, we will explain that later when we are looking at distinctive features. So just remember that this is plus cons, which is plus consonantal, minus son, which is minus sonorant, minus voice, you already know what voice is. You know what consonanta is, means that it is a consonant. Voice means that it is minus voice means that it is a voiceless sound. So we're only looking at this minus sound. So we look at what it is when we are discussing distinctive feature. But sonorants are those sounds or phonemes that don't have any obstruction. But you know that is a fricative, and fricatives have little obstruction before the free flow of air. Okay, so it is not a sonorant, so it is minus sonorant. So that is the feature of the sound that should come before the voiceless plosive to make it unaspirated. All right, so we have particle. It becomes unaspirated when it comes after s at the syllable initial position. Okay, is that understood? All right, let's proceed. We have the vowel nasalization. We should be familiar with that already. So in the vowel nasalization, we have the rule states that vowels are realized as nasals when they occur in the environment of nasals or before a nasal. Okay, so when we have vocalic, vocalic shows that it is a vowel sound. Okay, plus vocalic says that it is a vowel sound. So plus vocalic is realized as, that is the vowel sound, is realized as nasalized. This symbol on V is nasalized. It is supposed to be on V, but because when typing there is no how I can put it on V, on top of V, which is the vowel. Okay, that is why it is like this, but normally it should be on that phoneme, okay, that you are talking about. So it is realized as nasalized vowel. So this V with this symbol on it is nasalized vowel when it comes in the environment of nasals. So a vowel plus vocalic is realized as a nasalized vowel when it comes in the environment of nasals. That is the formalization of this rule. So we have looked at the formalization of 4 rules. These are other ones, the phonological rules with their formalization, okay, and not if their formalization and then the rules themselves. So we have one, nasalization. We have talked about it just here, okay. So the rule here, the phonological rule here will state that plus vowel or plus vocalic, okay, will become plus nasal when it comes before nasal. All right, for example, we have and. A here becomes nasalized. Man, A becomes nasalized. Ram, A becomes nasalized. Can, A becomes nasalized. Sang, A becomes nasalized. Thank, A becomes nasalized. Okay, that is the nasalization of vowels. So we have here fronting of velars. A velar sound becomes more front before front vowels. Okay, so you see, you in your vowel chart, you could see that for instance, in your vowel classification, there are some places in vowel classification that we look at the front back dimension, right? I hope you remember the front back dimension in vowel classification. You remember the open, close, or height of the tongue, position of lip position, and then length of production. Okay, now fronting of velars happens within in front back dimension. So those vowel sounds that are called front vowels, when they occur with velars, those velars are fronted. Okay, they become more front than they are. You know that velars are back sounds, or they are back sounds, Okay, so but when they occur with front sounds, they become more front, or front vowels, they become more front. So E is a front vowel, E is a front vowel. Now G is a velar sound. So when I have geese, I am fronting the velar sound. Okay, get, I am fronting the velar sound. Keg, I'm fronting the velar sound. Now we have dentalization of alveolars. You know the alveolar sounds, okay, when they become dentalized. So alveolar sounds become dental or plus dental when they occur before dental. So, okay, so tenth, n in tenth is an alveolar sound. Okay, it is an alveolar nasal, a voiced alveolar nasal. Now, this voiced alveolar nasal is occurring in the environment of the dental, of the voiceless dental, okay, the voiceless dental fricative. All right, so n becomes dentalized. N is an alveolar sound. It becomes dentalized because it is occurring in the environment of a dental sound. Okay. In theory, when you are saying something and you say in theory, okay, in now a dental sound, because when you say in theory, it looks like one word already. So when you are producing it, okay, in theory, here we now have n occurring with again a dental sound. So the alveolar n becomes dentalized. One thing, in one thing, okay, called as one word, n becomes dentalized too. So when alveolar sounds occur with dental sounds, we find out that those alveolar sounds have become dentalized. Unreleased oral stops. Unreleased oral stops. These are stops. And these stops become unreleased in the word final position or before other oral stops. Now, we did not talk about that. When we're talking about aspiration, okay, we looked at aspirated, we looked at unaspirated. We did not look at unreleased. Okay, so but in unreleased, they are still voiceless stops. But these voiceless stops occur at the word final position, okay, or before other oral stops. Okay, so when they occur in such a position, they become unreleased. For instance, cap. All right, cap. When I am producing the p in cap, it looks like it has been swallowed back, so it is said that it is unreleased. Okay, so it is an unreleased sound or unreleased oral stop. Okay, so we have, for instance, cap, hat, black, cab, good, captain, hatpin, and the rest of it. We have aspiration of stuff. That one we have talked about it. Minus voice, that's they are voiceless. They are voiceless stop. So you look at what I am doing here. This is you have minus voice. Okay, when we go down here, we see plus stop. So they are voiceless stop. Minus voice plus stop shows that it is voiceless stop. So voiceless stop becomes aspirated when at the syllable initial position. You see it when at the syllable initial position. Okay, so when you have voiceless stop at the syllable initial position, remember the rule says it has to be followed by a stressed vowel. Okay, it becomes aspirated. So we are looking at aspiration of stops. So we have, for instance, p in pit. See that superscript H on it. It shows that it is aspirated. T in tie, k in calm. So you have to see the superscript H shows that they are aspirated. Unreleased, I will show you the sign for unreleased when we are looking at okay, I think there is somewhere that we find the unreleased. Okay, so here we have looked at aspiration of stops, and now we are looking at lack of aspiration after s. Okay, that is unaspiration. Remember that we discussed aspiration, unaspiration, okay? And when we have s coming before the voiceless plosive. So we have minus voice, that is, it is voiceless. We have plus stop. So we have a voiceless plosive becomes minus aspirated is unaspirated, becomes unaspirated after at the beginning of a syllable. You know that place that we deleted and we put it at the beginning of a syllable? It was talking about unaspiration. Okay, so we have lack of aspiration after s, where voiceless stops become unaspirated when they come after s at the syllable initial position. So we have examples: spit, style, scam. Okay, please, the unaspiration symbol is the degree sign. When you say that your temperature is 36 degrees Celsius, the way you will write it mathematically, 36, that degree sign you put here, that's what we put. So that degree sign, you put it after p. So that's the way you represent the unaspiration. So we have unaspirated p, or unaspirated t, or unaspirated k, unaspirated voiceless stops. So that's the rule that guides the unaspiration and its formalization. And so we have devoicing of approximants. Devoicing of approximants. Okay, would this be approximants now or laterals? Okay, plus approximants. Now let me explain something about calling this approximant. Okay, devoicing of approximants. Instead of calling it devoicing, it could have been a translation. It's translating into something, but let's look at it the way it is. This is plus approximants. That means they are approximants. So we have the approximants w. Letter W sounds w, and letter Y sounds y. So we have w and y. We also call them semi-vowels or approximants. Okay, so they are plus approximants. They are realized as minus voice, so they become voiceless after an aspirated stop. Okay, this is talking about something else. This shouldn't be about approximants. Let me explain this again to you. So we come here, I need to explain it to you. Okay, now when we come here, L is a lateral. Okay, L is lateral. All right, we have lateral. L is lateral. Okay, and trill and trill. So the trill is r. The trill is r. So we have lateral and trill. We have the lateral and the trill. Okay, in this situation. So when they come after a plosive, a voiceless stop. When they come after the voiceless stop, okay, that's what this thing is looking at. They become devoiced. So we have this lateral and trill becoming devoiced, becomes devoiced. Okay, when they appear after a voiceless plosive. After a voiceless plosive. So that is what is happening here. Okay, so we have p is a voiceless plosive, k is a voiceless plosive, t is a voiceless plosive. Now r occurs with p in the environment of pray. Okay, this r becomes devoiced. It was formerly a voiced sound. Now it loses its voicing because it is occurring with p, which is a voiceless plosive. Now we have play, l, occurring with p. In the environment of play, l becomes devoiced because it is occurring with a voiceless p. Now r occurring with k in crew. Okay, in crew. So it becomes devoiced. It loses its voicing when it is in the environment of crew, when it occurs after k. The same thing happens to clue, try, twig. No, twig. Twig. Okay, twig is an approximant. Okay, and tune. So it happens with both approximants, laterals, and trills. Okay, so now what you should note is that in the consonant chart, there are some grammarians that will represent r, l, w, and y as approximants. So that is why they call it the voicing of approximants. But we also know that l is a lateral and r is a trill or roll, and l is a lateral. So we can call it the voicing of approximants, laterals, and trill. Okay, so because we have here pray, in pray, r is the voice, play, l is the voice, crew, r is the voice, clue, r is the voice, try, r is the voice, twig, w is the voice, tune, y is the voice. Okay, So that is the devoicing of approximants, laterals, and trim. Okay. Now we have the glottal stop support. Okay. This is a voiceless stop. The voiceless stop becomes a glottal stop. Okay, it becomes a glottal stop when it comes in contact with another voiced stop. Okay, so when after a vowel and at the end of a syllable. Okay, so I have cup. Okay, the p, which is a voiceless stop, becomes a glottal stop when it comes at the end of the syllable. Okay, after a vowel. All right, so cap, that could happen, but it depends on the background of the person producing the sound. All right, so that's what happens. Hip, big, like you are swallowing that and then calling it again and all those things. Okay, that's what happens in glottal stop support. So there is a support of the glottal sound. All right, we have, excuse me, so glottal stop. Okay, so it's a voiceless alveolar stop. Is realized as a glottal stop. For instance, in Pete, Americans may call P, bell. Okay, bell, atlas, lightning. You hear that P-E, bottom, something like that. What happens here is that these things translate this alveolar stop, the voiceless alveolar stop, okay, translates or becomes a glottal stop. Atlas, lightning, PE, bottom, okay. That's what happens in that situation. Now, in another situation, this voiceless alveolar stop also becomes a tap. A tap is when you are representing t with r. Okay, so minus voice, so that is a voiceless sound, becomes a voiced sound because r is a voiced sound when it is the single consonant between two vowels, the second of which is unstressed. So I have two vowels here in later. Okay, in later. So the second vowel is unstressed. So if in writing the second vowel is unstressed, okay, waiter, the second vowel is unstressed. Divinity, okay, the vowel in the vinity, V is stressed, the one following V is unstressed. Okay, ni, the vinity, okay, start. So now when it happens like that I have later, I have water, and then wa is stressed, lay is stressed, and t is unstressed. This rule is saying that t in between the two syllable, okay, becomes a tap. I have told you that a tap is when you convert t to r. So I now have layer, writing, waiter, divinity, star, water, okay, something like that. So that's what happens here. Now the also becomes a tap, as in later, Okay, now it's sounding the same way with later and ladder. Okay, later. All right, so you will have to know whatever word you are looking at before you start that pronunciation, but this usually happens in the American kind of pronunciation. Now you can see that later and later or later is sounding the same way, okay, or sounds the same way. So it is in context that you know whether they are talking about later or they are talking about later. Now you have rising, waiter. So the same thing happens here when it is the single consonant between two vowels and the second vowel is unstressed. Now we have the voicing of consonants. The voicing of consonants. Okay. The first here, you have voiced obstruent. Obstruents are the group that usually go with obstruction. So we have plosives, fricatives, affricates. They are obstruents because they have some measure of obstruction in their production. Okay, remember that the opposite of obstruent is sonorant. So if something is plus obstruent, definitely it is minus sonorant. So I have voiced obstruent. So they are either going to be what did I say now? They are either going to be fricative, plosives, or affricates. Alright, so we have the voicing of consonants here. We are looking at voiced obstruents. They become partially voiced when at the syllable initial position, except when they are preceded by a voiced sound. Okay, when they are at the syllable initial position. All right, so by. I don't know how they said this thing is the voice too. Die, guy, zoo, veal. Okay. Oh no, we are not writing anything. Okay. All right, so we have such examples as by, die, guy, zoo, veal, they. All right, z is an affricate, v is a fricative, b is a plosive. Okay, so they are partially voiced when at the syllable initial position. Okay, remember that these things, the ones that are usually at the syllable initial position, and then you say that they are aspirated, remember that they are voiceless plosive. But now when it comes to voiced obstruents, that means it is removing voiceless plosives, it is removing voiceless fricatives, and it is removing voiceless affricates. Okay, it's removing the voiceless sounds in plosives, fricatives, and affricates. All right, so b, d, g are voiced plosives. Z, v are voiced affricates. So I also have j, but j does not really occur in the syllable initial position. Okay, and then you have z. So these are voiced obstruents, okay, which are partially voiced when they are at the syllable initial position, except when they are preceded by a voiced sound. Okay, when they are preceded by a voice sound. But all of what we are seeing here are really preceded by a voice sound because all the vowel sounds are voiced. Okay, except when you have bl, blame, bl, blame. Okay, becomes partially voiced. Now we have the voicing of consonants again. Still voiced obstruents, partially voiced when a syllable final position. The other part is when they are syllable initial position. Here is when they are syllable final position, except when preceded by a voiced sound. So we have rib, read, rig, rise, drive, reese. Okay, this is reese, or to reese in pain. Okay, so they are partially voiced when at the final position. They are also partially voiced when at the initial position, syllable initial position and syllable final position, except when they are preceded by. Okay, this is when they are preceded. Okay, when they have a vowel sound coming before them. All right, so we have shortening of vowels. The shortening of vowels. Vowel sounds become shorter before voiceless sounds in the same syllable. So the vowel sound a becomes voiceless or shorter. Okay, becomes shorter. It is now shortened again when it occurs with a voiceless sound. Okay, cap, back, b, and k. They are voiceless sounds. So the vowel sound out there becomes shortened. We have syllabicity of nasals. Nasal sounds become syllabic. When you talk of syllabic is that component which a syllable must have for it to be a syllable. And we say that for you to say that this is a syllable, it must have a compulsory vowel sound, one vowel sound. Okay, when it has two vowel sounds, it has become two syllables. So the obligatory element of a syllable is what maintains its syllabicity. Okay, so if something is plus syllabic, that means it has a syllabic element, which is a vowel element. Now, the nasals here are consonants. So when we say that this nasal becomes syllabic, that means they are taking a syllabic quality, which is they are taking the quality of the compulsory element of a syllable, which should be the vowel sound. So when you have a consonant sound functioning as a compulsory syllabic element, we call it a syllabic consonant. So these are syllabic consonants. So we have a syllabic nasal. So the nasal becomes syllabic when at the end of a word and immediately after an obstruent. You know what we said, that an obstruent is a phoneme with some kind of obstruction in its production. Okay, so we have laden, okay, chasm or chasm, sorry. Okay, laden and chasm. So the symbol on the N and M in the transcription of laden and chasm is the syllabic marker. Okay, it shows that N is a syllabic N and then M is syllabic M. All right, so the nasal becomes syllabic when it is at the end of a word and immediately after an obstruent. The is an obstruent because it is a plosive, is an obstruent because it is a fricative. So N, the nasal follows after it, so it becomes syllabic. Now we have syllabicity of laterals. So we have lateral sound. The lateral sound is L. Okay, it becomes plus syllabic. It takes the syllabic quality when at the end of a word and immediately after another consonant. Okay, when it is at the end of a word and immediately after another consonant. So we have castle. We have battle, okay, castle, battle. So ka is one syllable, so is another syllable. So but here they are talking about a word, but because this word is a disyllabic word, okay, it has been divided into